The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Mir walked through the crystalline doors, his boots echoing against the polished floor. Behind him, connected by nothing more than a frayed rope, lumbered the Void Reaver, a creature that had decimated 3 colony worlds and turned the bravest Krillian warriors into cosmic dust. Akim, the Council's youngest xenobiologist, dropped her datapad. The holographic projections flickered and died as every delegate's attention locked onto the impossible sight before them. "By the Seven Suns," Ambassador Thexlar whispered, his 4 eyes widening in disbelief. "The human. He survived." Mir scratched behind what could only be described as the Reaver's ear analog. The massive creature, all obsidian scales and teeth designed to crack starship hulls, made a sound somewhere between a purr and a subsonic rumble. Its eyes, previously described in terror-stricken reports as windows into the abyss itself, were half-closed in contentment. "Yeah, about that," Mir said, his voice carrying the casual tone that made most alien species deeply uncomfortable. Turns out nobody actually tried talking to him before deciding he needed to die. 3 weeks earlier, the Council had been desperate. The Void Reaver had emerged from a spatial anomaly near the Andromeda Gate, and nothing in their considerable arsenal had even scratched it. Plasma cannons melted before touching its hide. Quantum torpedoes phased through it like light through glass. The creature seemed to exist partially outside normal spacetime, making it effectively invincible. When Mir had volunteered for the diplomatic mission, a generous term for what everyone knew was a suicide run, Akim had been the only one to object. "This is murder," she had argued, her violet eyes flashing with anger. "We're sending him to die because we're too afraid to admit we don't understand what we're dealing with." The Council had overruled her. Humans, they reasoned, were expendable, a young species barely a century into space travel, with a disturbing tendency to solve problems through what they called creative thinking, and what everyone else called catastrophic disregard for established protocol. Mir had gone anyway, armed with nothing but a translation matrix, a survival pack, and what he'd called the most important tool in the universe, a bag of beef jerky. Now standing before the assembled representatives of 47 species, he looked less like a man who'd faced certain death, and more like someone who'd just returned from a camping trip. "His name is Brutus," Mir announced, giving the rope a gentle tug. The Void Reaver settled onto its haunches, its massive tail curling around Mir's legs protectively. He was scared and alone. The spatial anomaly wasn't a portal he came through. It was his egg sac. He hatched into our reality with no mother, no pack, nothing. Just hungry and confused. Akim moved closer, her scientific curiosity overriding her shock. You domesticated the Void Reaver?" "Domesticated?" Mir laughed. "Nah, we just became friends. Turns out when you're not shooting at something, it's a lot easier to figure out what it wants." He pulled a piece of jerky from his pocket. Brutus's massive head lowered, and with surprising delicacy, the creature that had destroyed entire fleets took the offering between teeth the size of shuttlecraft. The contented rumble intensified. "This is impossible," High Commander Zixtar sputtered, his scales flushing an alarmed purple. "The creature's biology operates on principles that violate known physics. It cannot be reasoned with. It cannot be—" "It's a baby," Mir interrupted. "A scared, hungry baby in a universe it doesn't understand." Sound familiar? The silence that followed was deafening. Akim's eyes met Mir's across the chamber, and in them he saw understanding. Humans, after all, were the newest species to the galactic stage. They knew what it felt like to be alone in the dark. "The first night," Mir continued, his voice softer now, "I didn't try to fight him. I sat down, opened my rations, and ate dinner while he watched. Took 3 days before he got close enough to take food from my hand. Another week before he let me touch him. Turns out Void Reavers are social creatures. He wasn't attacking your colonies, he was trying to find others like himself." Thexlar leaned forward. "And the destroyed ships? The stations? He thought they were eggs. He was trying to crack them open to find family." Mir shrugged. "Once I explained, and yeah, it took a while to get the translation matrix calibrated, he was horrified. Didn't know there were things inside. His species apparently has really tough eggs." Akim approached slowly, extending her hand. Brutus's massive head swiveled toward her, eyes that had been described as abyssal voids now clearly visible as merely dark, curious, and distinctly reptilian. The creature sniffed her hand, then gently bumped its snout against her palm. She laughed, a sound of pure wonder. Incredible. This changes everything, Ambassador Cathen said, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into dancing rainbows. If the human can communicate with the Reaver, if it can be reasoned with. Brutus, Mir corrected. His name is Brutus, and he's not an it. Also, he wants to know if there's any way to find his actual species. He's lonely. The council erupted into chaotic discussion. Akim moved to Mir's side, her voice low. They were ready to let you die. I know. You went anyway. Someone had to try something different. He glanced at Brutus, who was now eyeing the council's ornamental fountain with interest. Sometimes the scariest monsters are just people, or creatures that nobody took the time to understand. High Commander Zixtar called for order. Human Mir, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we apologize. Your success where our weapons failed is humbling. Keep your apology, Mir said, though his tone remained friendly. Just help me find Brutus's family, and maybe next time, before you decide something's a monster worth killing, try asking Akim first. She was the only one who got it right. Akim felt her face warm at the praise. Around them, the most powerful beings in the known galaxy nodded slowly, confronted with a truth as old as civilization itself. Sometimes the bravest thing wasn't fighting the monster. It was befriending it. Brutus yawned, revealing teeth that could bite through battle armor, and settled his massive head on Mir's shoulder. The human staggered slightly under the weight but didn't complain, simply reaching up to scratch the Void Reaver's chin. In that moment, humanity's reputation shifted. They weren't just the crazy newcomers who ignored protocols. They were the species who saw family where others saw only fear. And across the galaxy, that made all the difference.